Senator Chambliss.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. And gentlemen, let me echo the sentiments of my colleagues in thanking you for your leadership of the United States Air Force. General Schwartz, I think you pretty well responded in sufficient detail to Senator Lieberman on the Joint Stars issue. But I take it from your comment when you say that irrespective of what the AOA study comes out, that you're going to maintain the current Joint Stars platform going forward, which I'm taking your comment to assume that on the re-engineering issue, which I've dialogued with both of you about over the last several years, is going to continue to be maintained as it is currently funded and will be funded in the future.
Sir, as we've made the commitment, we certainly will fulfill the guidance we have from the department on the 4 ship sets. As you're well aware, there is an appropriations issue in this respect in 11, and hopefully that's addressed in the coming weeks.
Right. To both of you, Senator Levin mentioned this issue of weapons sustainment in his opening remarks, and I want to echo his concerns here. We're flying airplanes more than we ever anticipated we'd fly them, whether it's TAC air or transport or whatever, and we're fast wearing those airplanes out. We've got 3 excellent depots in the Air Force that are providing the kind of maintenance we need to have done on those airplanes, but frankly, because of the workload requirements or workload demands, I guess, coming from the customer, we've got a backlog at every depot right now. And I noticed that you're only funded currently at 84% of your requirement. At first glance, this doesn't seem to be a step in the direction of getting ourselves healthy in this arena, and because we've got these backlogs, why are we not funded at 100% of the requirement?
Sir, we cannot afford to put the resources against what would be 100% of the requirement. Just in the last budget cycle, for example, just to stay even with growing demand, the initial estimate was that it would cost us an extra $7 billion across the future years defense plan to fund continuation of capability at the 80 or 82% roughly. It's not just the older aircraft that are challenging us in this respect. We're also taking ownership of new aircraft for which we are relying on lots of contractor support. So new deliveries of C-17s, new deliveries of F-22s, the MQ-1s and 9s that are coming on board, the MC-12, for example, smaller fleets, but all of these are heavily reliant on contractor support, and the cost of supporting those incoming aircraft has gone north very quickly. So we're very interested in restoring material readiness to the fleet. There's no question that we have challenges there, and we're concerned about them. But we also need to push the logistics and support community to make sure we are getting the best value that we can. We need to work through the issues of overtime. We need to work through the issues of supply chain in the depots so that we get more efficient in this work and we drive harder bargains with our contractors as well. But there's no question we need to get material sustainment north of where it is today.
You mentioned that supply chain issue, and of course we made a change in that chain and incorporated DLA in to provide the parts, which sounds like a good idea, but very honestly, we know we've had some significant problems there, and if folks can't have the part in hand when they're ready to put that part on the airplane, and what our folks do is wind up sitting around waiting on delivery of the parts. Where are we with respect to improving that transition to DLA?
Admiral Thompson and I have had that conversation eyeball to eyeball.
Good.
And you know that we are relying on him to allow us to do the organic work that needs to be done. And just as you suggest, Senator, if the part's not in the bin when it's needed, it results in change work, which is more expensive. So I've expressed my expectation to him on exactly what's required.
Well, I hope you'll stay in touch with us on that, and from a policy standpoint, however we need to be engaged, we stand ready to do so. Secretary Donley, in a recent hearing, Lieutenant General Shackelford indicated that the Air Force is leaning toward a competition for the Common Vertical Lift Support Platform Helicopter Acquisition Program. Can you confirm that there will be a competition and that any competition will be fair and allow commercial, off-the-shelf, non-developmental products to be considered, and will overall acquisition and life cycle cost also factor prominently in the Air Force's decision?
Sir, the Chief and I are going to get the acquisition strategy on vertical lift later this month. I'm absolutely sure that competition will be involved in that. As you're probably aware, we are working we're working the recapitalization of the rescue fleet, the recapitalization of the helicopter fleet that supports the missile fields, and also handfuls of other vertical lift requirements in the Air Force that are now fulfilled by the very old and venerable UH-1 Huey. So we are trying to work those requirements in combination, again, to get the most capability, the most value out of the mix, and the most efficiency that we can in this competition.
Well, we've just talked about the competition in the tanker and the results that we'll achieve there, so I hope we'll make sure that that competition is exactly comparable to that. General Schwartz, you talked a little bit in response to Senator McCain about the no-fly zone issue in Libya. We know that they have a very capable surface-to-air capability, probably about as good as anybody in that part of the region, maybe with the exception of Egypt. If we did have to, if the President makes a decision, Secretary Gates says, guys, we're going to enforce a no-fly zone over Libya, what kind of assets and what platforms would you put in there to enforce that no-fly zone?
It would entail numerous assets, certainly fighter aircraft, F-16, F-15, both air-to-ground and anti-radiation capabilities.
How are you going to send an F-15 and F-16 in there with the SAM capability they got and expect them to fly in a safe and secure manner?
Sir, understand. Let me roll this out. Certainly, that's the fighter portion of the fleet. You're going to have RC-135s. You're going to have surveillance kinds of capabilities that would be used to surveil both the integrated air defense system and other areas as tasked. You'll have tankers to support the short-legged platforms. You would have compass call and other capabilities that, again, can jam communications and affect the effectiveness of the integrated air defense and so on. And you would have undoubtedly some bomber aircraft that would give you long dwell over specified target areas. So the bottom line, if we do this is a complete force, kind of total force sort of application of our air and space capabilities.
General, isn't this exactly what the F-22 was designed to do and has the capability of doing?
No doubt that it would be useful, and I would have the expectation that at least in the early days it certainly would be used.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Chambliss. Senator